What is up, guys? Welcome to this very new video of mine. I have not been uploading for a very long time, but I'm kind of back on it again, at least trying. So today I'm gonna be kind of reviewing MXGP 2019, or just talk about how I feel about the game in comparison to MXGP Pro, especially not so much the MESX2 game, but just kind of focus around this game and MXGP Pro. And I want to start off by saying that if I have approximately 32 hours on the game and I've had it for 3 days, so I think my opinion on this game is kind of valid, because I have played quite a lot of this game, so whatever I'm saying should be as true as it gets, and I'm not trying to hold anything back or sugarcoat anything. I'm just gonna say kind of what I feel. So the game itself, I want to start off by saying that the overall feel of the bikes and just the way that the game plays, it feels a lot better than it did on MXGP Pro. I mean, it feels just a lot less clumsy, but it still feels like an MXGP game. Don't get me wrong, yeah, but it's just a lot less clumsy, and overall just better. And they have kind of polished it a lot more, which I think is really great. And there's still some problems with, say, the cornering and stuff. As you can see, I'm sliding a lot of the time. You're sliding, which you don't really do in real life. I've been riding motocross for a good while. I'm not riding anymore, but I used to. And as far as I can remember, I'm not sliding all over the place. So that's kind of weird that you do that still, but that's been a theme almost in all the MXGP games. You're always sliding. It feels like it's flat tracking. Once you get your bike upgraded to like fully upgraded, it's not as bad as a stock bike, but it's kind of annoying to be sliding sometimes. And one thing I've noticed about cornering is that when you go really slow, because you sometimes have to go in a really tight turn on the MXGP tracks, not the tracks you make yourself, but when you need to go really slow to make a turn, it's almost like you have to press the rear brake to get the rear wheel to slide out before you can actually turn. Otherwise you're gonna be like not even really turning that much. So I think that's really weird. And as I'm talking here, I'm gonna throw some clips in of some of the things I'm trying to explain here. And again, with cornering, you are sliding quite a lot. Not as much right now, but as far as berms go, here in the custom tracks you make, they work fine-ish. It's just like a weird hill almost, but they're like okay. But the tracks in game, I'm gonna show you some clips of the Supercross track on the playground, which I'm gonna talk more about later. You can see that I get up to the berms, and I kind of just ride up the berms like it's a jump phase almost. They don't really, my rider doesn't really lay his bike down into the berm. He just kind of rides over him. So as far as berms go, they're completely useless, because he just does not ride a berm like a berm is supposed to be ridden. Goes over it instead of laying the bike into it. So you end up being very slow around the corners, because you cannot use a berm as a berm is intended, which I think really sucks and does not even make any sense. So that's kind of weird. And as far as tracks go, as the MXGP tracks, I think that there's better tracks in this game than in the MXGP Pro game. I don't know. I just felt like the tracks in MXGP Pro were not as fun as the ones we have in this game. I think one track in particular. Holy shit! I got swapped the fuck out. One track in particular, I think that's really fun because it doesn't have the rolled off excuse me, jump faces as all the other tracks do have. Is the Semarang, I think it's called. It has way bigger jumps than on some of the other tracks, and I think it's just more fun. It's very like high speed, but it's more fun than some of the other tracks. And the Mantova track is also one track that I think is really cool because I've played it a lot in MX bikes. So I think it's kind of cool to see it in this game as well. But what I'm gonna show you some footage of right now is me riding Lommel, which is a decent-ish track, but it's a prime example of how they did the tracks in this game. All the jumps seem to be very small, and and also you can see that everything is rolled off. Everything that's supposed to be like a roller is like a tiny bit dent in the ground. Not even a roller, or waves as they call it in this game, which is retarded, by the way. So that really sucks. Overall, I think that the tracks in this game are more fun than the tracks in MXGP Pro. And as you can see there, that was a prime example of me yeeting the fuck out of that corner, just sliding out, which is really a bummer. Not the most fun thing to do, to just slide out for no reason. See, I'm sliding already. It's fucking fuck. Okay, so let's move on to some of the features. So, as we all know, or should know, this game has a track editor. And right now I'm riding on a track that I made myself. And I think it's cool. It's very much needed for the time being of motocross games. They introduced it first time in the first Monster Energy Supercross game, and now in Monster Energy Supercross 2 and in MXGP 2019. But I think they could have done a way better job at making this track editor. Not that I'm yeah, I am complaining. Okay, as I said, no sugarcoating, fuck that shit. But I think all the jumps, as you can see here, this is probably one of the most peaky jumps, as you can say. This is the jump that's in the game that has the most lip of all of them, I think. And everything is just so rolled off. And when you go into the corners in the track editor, you do not have the option to do sand corners anymore. So if you want to have a motocross track in the woods and you want a sand section, you are not able to do that, which sucks and is weird because you could have dirt tracks in Monster Energy Supercross 2 with sand sections. And we have 3 environments to choose from. We have a Riviera, which is what I'm riding right now. We have the woods, and we have a desert. I personally like this one the most because it has dirt, but there's no trees all over the place, so you can't see anything as much. You got trees there, but that's about it. Excuse me, my voice is really weird right now. I don't get why. But as far as pieces go, it's very limited to what you have available. You have I think you have 3 double jumps, which is basically that jump right there to the right of me, and then you have bigger versions of it. You have 3 tabletops and you have a couple of triples. The double jumps, the tables, and the triples, you are not able to turn them around, which is fucking retarded. But because if you were able to do that, you could make many more kinds of tracks, I guess you could say. You would have way more things to do than just have a track in a single way. So let's say you wanted to make some kind of a Supercross-ish rhythm section. You would not be able to do that because you cannot. You don't have small, peaky jumps with actual lips on them, so you don't get sent into the air as much as you do on a Supercross track, because you have these shitty rolled off jump faces, which is just bullshit. Why wouldn't you let us have the Supercross pieces so we can make whatever we want, instead of just being limited? Oh, it's a motocross game. I'm scared nobody's gonna buy the next game, so I'm just gonna make sure that they can only make shitty motocross tracks with no jump faces at all. It's just like a rolled off big ass roller. So I really do not like the fact that you do not have the ability to reverse triples, for example, because that's the only way you would be able to make some kind of a rhythm section if you put triples and singles in the exact same in the perfect way to make kind of a rhythm section, which I've done in the first MESX game before, which turned out great. I love making small rhythm sections out of triples. It gives a different dynamic than just having a couple of singles to navigate through. So yeah, that's basically the track editor. Could have been way better if you added all the pieces from the second Monster Energy Supercross game, because this is just bullshit. I'm telling you, man. It's so fucking weird. Why wouldn't you have this? So yeah, and let's go on to the compound, which is called the playground. You have 2 MX tracks, which when I'm showing you the footage, you probably will not be able to tell the difference. The only way I can tell the difference is because one of them has a kind of a gap jump over a ravine with some kind of road-ish bridge kind of thing, and you think, oh, that's cool, a gap jump bridge where you probably could do a giant ass whip, and let me just tell you, no, you cannot, because that is a small jump as well. And the MX tracks, I'm thinking, like, when I was recording the footage for the playground, I was like thinking, well, maybe they did they made the MX tracks super elevation change kind of thing, so you have all these hills that go up and down, barely no jumps at all, to compensate for the lack of elevation change in the track editor. But I don't think they would do that. But that's kind of how I see it. You have no elevation change option in the track editor, so they're just gonna go ahead and give you a bunch of rolling hills with pretty much nothing on them, and they're pretty damn boring tracks, these MX tracks on the playground. So I'd recommend you just stay away from those. Not really that fun, kind of a waste of time, not to be too harsh. But yeah, that's kind of how I see them. So forget about those. They're not worth anything if you ask me. And there's supposed to be some kind of house with some freestyle ramps on that playground thing, but I haven't found it yet. And you also have a Supercross-ish track, which isn't really that great. It's kind of a weird wannabe Supercross track that isn't really that great. It has a lot of weird non-flowy sections that that just does not make any sense, which I find really weird. But overall, I think it's the best track on the playground, which says a lot about how good the tracks are. And let me just make it clear, I'm not trying to be a Milestone hater, because I like their games. I think they're good games. The Milestone people just have the shittiest mindset on how to do things the proper way. Which is why I'm very happy that Rainbow Studios has bought Milestone. As far as I'm notified. Yeah, and also I want to talk about the whips in this game. The whips are better than they were in MXGP Pro. They kind of feel more natural, if that makes sense. Just a lot more flowy. You can make him look better once you get it down. At the start of the game where I was trying the whip, I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I can't even do nothing. And I crashed every time I landed and stuff like that. But I started to do it more on my custom tracks, and it turned out to be kind of okay. The whips aren't too bad. Made it look shit. But sometimes what I usually do is when I initiate the whip, I push my right stick forward so that the back wheel goes up and the front wheel goes down. So that way I feel like it looks a lot better than just letting the animation play out. It looks more like a whip when you do that. But enough about that. So, first of all, when we talk about bikes and customization, I want to say one thing. What the fuck, Milestone? Why do we not have the Suzuki? You could drop the TM bike and put the Suzuki in the game, I would be happy. But why no Suzuki? I don't get it. Like, maybe some licensing issues? I'm guessing. But why would you not have Suzuki? You have all these other bikes, but you don't have the Suzuki. Like, what? That shit weird, bro. And also, when it comes to customization, bike customization, it's pretty much the same as the MXGP Pro game. I think the only real difference is the fact that you have the option to change your seat to whatever you want, and you have multiple bar pads. I don't really know if you had that in MXGP Pro. Like the once you buy handlebars, you have the ability to choose different kind of bar pads of the same brand. I'm not sure if you had that ability in MXGP Pro or in MESX2. And also, when it comes to gear, you have all this gear. Pretty much, I mean, it's cool gear and stuff. Some of it's kind of boring. I feel like I have a hard time picking out what kind of gear I want to use because there's nothing that really appeals to me. But we have JT Racing, which is a brand I think is okay. But the main thing here is we have JT Racing boots, we have JT Racing suits, and stuff like that. But we do not have JT Racing helmets. Which I think is bullshit, because I wear a JT helmet when I ride. So I don't get why can we have all these other JT Racing things and not the helmet. That's kinda annoying, actually. All in all, I think this game is a good game. It's nice that we have a track editor now, even though it could use extremely much work on jumps and shit like that. But I want to say that the main, like, kind of bad thing about this game is that it's almost the same as every other MXGP game, except for the things that I've mentioned that's different. But it's an MXGP game. It's the same series of tracks almost. There's a bit. There's other tracks in this game than in the previous games, but it's pretty much still the same kind of game. It's not very different. I think that you should drop the the MXGP franchise and just move on to something else where they make their own tracks and make their own like fantasy tracks, which would turn out where you have a game like this, but with a track editor with elevation change, much more track pieces, and more jump faces that are actually have a lip, and then put some stock tracks in the game that's both Supercross tracks and motocross tracks. That would make the games a lot better if they would not just kind of force themselves into this MXGP or Monster Energy Supercross franchise where they don't have the ability to like kind of move out of that as much. And I mean, like, we have the compound, so yeah, they can make their own tracks to put into the game. It's not like they're forced to only have Monster Energy Supercross tracks or only have MXGP tracks. So I don't get why people settle for just the MXGP tracks or the official Supercross tracks in MESX. I think that's bullshit. Of course, you should have the ability to have both Supercross tracks and motocross tracks, and just drop the fucking licensing. Yes, have the bikes and the gear and stuff like that, but drop the licensing on the tracks, cause that just makes the track. No, it just makes the game worse in some sense. That they have this mindset of being bound to only doing these MXGP or Monster Energy Supercross games. So yeah, all in all, that's kind of my review, I guess you could say. And if I were to give it a rating, like 0 to 10, picture this as a standalone game. Imagine like if this was a game that haven't been made in a series. Like the game itself, I would rate probably a 6 or 7 out of 10, just because I feel like there's a lot of things that needs to be done before this game can be a really good game. But also I feel like it's a fun game, and it's a decent game. Like if you took the mindset of the people who makes MX vs ATV All Out, which is some people who are very focused on making sure that the community is happy, as far as I'm aware, and put it into this game, I think it would turn out much better. And if you had like kind of the air physics of this game mixed with the air physics of MX vs ATV games, it would be so much better. And that's kind of what's missing here. But all in all, yeah, about a 6 or 7 out of 10, and that has been my review of MXGP 2019. Give me some questions in the comments if you're curious to anything else or you want my opinion on. And yeah, I'll see you guys most likely, probably, I don't fucking know, in the next video I'll make in about a year or two. No, I don't know when the fuck I'm gonna make a video. I'm probably gonna live stream this in the weekend, but yeah, see you guys, bye bye.
Ho got a hell of a grip. It's never a problem till niggas is ballin' and bitches they all wanna stick. I lickety split in the whip with my niggas, my family, my clique. And the broker's a joke, so I never be sleeping till I know I'm waking up rich.